Okay, I'm gonna. Should I use perplexity or yeah? Let's just use perplexity. Okay. Anyways, so let's go here. Anyways, I'm gonna. I don't know. Let's see. Might wanna like go back to some mlops and see what is. Okay, let's. hmm, MLOps extends DevOps practice to handle machine learning workflows, focusing on data models and unique challenges like drift, transition from DevOps, leverage as CDCI, automatically 6 to 8 months depending on dedication and prior ML exposure. Okay, I have ML exposure. Okay, cool. Artifacts, code plus data plus model. So, okay, anyways. So, MLOps, what is that? MLOps, DevOps, and SWE. It's like the sweet spot for now. Everything else is kind of like, okay, whatever.
Actually, in this lecture, we will discuss.
It's Coursera free though. I think I need to pay money for Coursera. mlops.
Hello everyone, my name is Abhishek and welcome to our new Udemy course, MLOps Zero to Hero. Hi.
Bro, they all look the same.
Hello everyone, my name is Abhishek and welcome to our new Udemy course, MLOps Zero to Hero. Yes, this has been one of the most requested courses and finally I'm bringing it live to you. This is a complete beginner friendly course. Even if you don't understand what is machine learning, what is a model, what is MLOps, you don't have to worry. This course will take you from absolute zero to hero. All that you have to do is to follow the course in order. Make sure you go through section by section, lecture by lecture. Wherever it is required, I have also added useful links in the articles. So make sure if you find articles, not skip them. Also in the next lecture, I'll walk you through our GitHub repository so that you can also get notes for this entire course. I hope you will find this course extremely useful. What is machine learning? In simple words, machine learning is a process of training a machine or computer with huge amount of data so that it identifies the patterns and
Wait. I need to like take it back. Data engineering. Okay, let's just look into DevOps for now. Fuck you. Okay, what is DevOps? Big picture, snapshot. I want to punch people. Ooh. So DevOps is a way of thinking and a way of working. It is a framework for sharing stories and developing empathy and enabling people and teams to practice their crafts in effective and lasting ways. It is a part of the culture way weaves and shapes how we work, and why many people think it's DevOps or specific tools like Chef or Docker, but tools alone are not DevOps. Okay, what makes tools DevOps is a matter of their use. It's not the fundamental characteristics of tools themselves. It is addition the tools and how we practice our crafts are an equally important the part of our culture and our values and norms and knowledge, explaining how people work and technologies we use, how technologies influence the way we work, and how people influence technology can help us make intentional decision about landscape of our organization and our industry. DevOps is not just another tool development methodology, although it is related and even influenced by software development methodologies like Agile and XP and other practices can include software development methods of feature like infrastructure, automation, and continuous delivery. It is much more than a sum of these parts where these concepts related may frequently seen in DevOps environment, focusing solely on missing the bigger picture, the cultural and interpersonal aspect of the given DevOps, its power. It's more like interpersonal, okay? Snapshot of DevOps culture. What a successful DevOps culture looks like. To demonstrate this, we will examine the intersection of people, process, and tool at Etsy, an online global marketplace for handmade vintage. It's more okay. Wait, fuck you. I want to punch you. I hate these pitches so much, so much. Great progress.
Mm.
Okay. What does a successful DevOps culture look like? To demonstrate this, we will examine the intersection of people and process and tooling at Etsy, an online global marketplace for handmade vintage books. We choose Etsy as an example, not only because they were well known for the industry and the technical practice and construct, but also known as the Catherine's experience working there aroused their detailed look at what the cultural looks at from the inside. A new engineering Etsy starts the first day with a laptop and development visualization VM virtual machine already set up with the appropriate accounts for access and authorization, and the most common GitHub result cloned and analyzed in a shortcut to relevant tools pre-catered to guide with the new hire information to link to the company resources to the standardization of tool practices where the teams make them easy for new people to get it in speed regardless for what the team are actually joining. But every team has the flexibility custom to see whether fit whatever. Um, a current employee will pair them with a new employee to walk through the testing and development process. She might use a day-to-day work. She starts with writing. Fucking hell, okay. NCA engineers can achieve good degree of confidence that the change is working locally by running the sort of the local unit function test from where they change a try server, a Jenkins cluster near an identical organization production CDCI cluster, but they added on bonus of not requiring any code to commit it to the master branch. When they try passes, engineer have a higher degree of confidence when they change will not break the test. Okay. Okay, depending on the size and the complexity, a new engineer might choose to open a pull request or more informally ask for a code review. Colleagues, this is not mandatory for every change, but is often let up for individual discretion in Etsy. High trust, blameless environment. People are given the trust and authority to decide whether a code review is necessary, and newer and more junior employees are given the guidance to help them figure out what changes merit a code review and who should be involved. A new employee, she has a good glance over her changes before she starts deploying them. A local, when a local Try tests have passed. The developer who joins the SC call to push queue to deploy changes to production. The queue system uses internal replay chat ICR and IC bot coordinator deploys when multiple developers are pushing changes at once. When it's her turn, she pushes a commit to master branch of the repository. She's working in the deployinator to deploy all of these changes to QA, automatically starts building a QA server running in the CDC. Okay, whatever. I need to text all of these people. Fuck. Anyways, after the build that is completely successful, she does a quick manual check of the QA and the size of the logs. Logs looks at the problems where they weren't caught a chain by automated tests from where the issues development process to deploy her code to production, make sure. Okay, anyways, the process is streamlined that it only takes 10 minutes of an average to start to finish actually engineer. The whole deploys in 60 minutes a day. The documentation is available for anyone interested to pursue and engineer data pushes code to production on their first day, guided by the current team members to help familiarize them to the process. Even non non-engineers are encouraged to participate. By the way, the first push program, pairing with engineers to deploy small changes such as adding their photos to the SAP page and website in addition to being used as a software deployment. Try and deployer process works so well it is used in nearly every environment and can deploy it from tools that are deployed using virtual machines to Kibana dashboards for searching logs and Nagio monitors. What the fuck is evolution of culture? This story of Etsy today stark contrast on how many several years ago with less transparent and more error-prone deployment process took close to 4 hours. Developer had their own blade servers to work with on rather than virtual machines, but the blade servers weren't powerful enough to run the automated tests to see the competition tests that were run in the staging environment. Took a couple of hours to complete, even they were flanky enough to make the results less useful. Teams within an engineering organization were sealed, sealed, and they were developers throwing code over metaphorical wall to ops. They were solely responsible for the deployment and monitoring, thus tended to incredible aversion, change aversion. Developers who wrote code excluding handcraft shell script and create SNV branch would be deployed by SMV merge, not knowing how, being easiest merging tool to work with. To merge all developers changes to deploy branch. Developers would tell operation engineers who had permission to deploy which branch to use. This would behind the painstaking multi-hour deployment process. Hmm. Being the process was so painful, it happened once every 3 or 4 weeks. Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. We've seen I've seen like Docker things. It takes like a couple of hours. just for like one change to occur. So I kind of like get it. Okay. People who give them, okay, okay. Keith, ML flow registry, okay, Flow, okay, Kubernetes, orchestration pipeline, model serving, deploy monitors as service, okay, whatever, AI, drift, watch performance and data analytics, and all in one, AWS SageMaker, goodness, curated minimum viable stack for self-hosted OSS friendly. Okay, I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. Easy work. I can do this. You need to solid, not extreme understanding enough to build and debug, automate ML-focused data pipelines, not to be a full warehouse of architecture, maybe 42% of real data engineering, depth focus on ML use case, a lot of, okay. Forgetting, she is ghetto. It's like, she is ghetto, but she's not ghetto. She's white ghetto. She's ghetto. She is white ghetto. She's ghetto. She's white ghetto. She's people who are fed up with this process, they realized they had to change something. It would be hard for deployment situation to get any worse. The organization was made to smart and talented people with the motivation, enough frustration to solve this problem. They had to buy in from the CEO and CDO down, which was a key of having research availability to make changes. The keys of deployment kingdom were shared from one operation engineer to two developers. Okay. Who are given the time and day to go ahead and hack out of the process as much as they need. They say you when you have the hammer, everything looks like a nail. Okay. And when you have a web application developer, everything looks like it needs a it needs like a web. So the first deploy native was born. Okay, looks total shit. At first, it was just a web wrapper around an existing shell script, but over time, more people began to work and improve it, while underlying mechanism doing the heavy lifting changes changed. Overall infrastructure stayed largely the same. It became evident everyone empowering these employees to create these tools to improve the job made it a lot easier to do said jobs. Deploys were okay. For MLOps, you want a small stack of adjacent books, MLOps system books, practical MLOps, Nova Grid. Okay, okay, okay. Adjacent books. I mean, I mean, it's a lot of money. The whites, you whites need to like. Uh, it's like, bro, isn't it like crazy? Like, oh, it's like, no, let's bring our culture to the whites. Crazy. It's like, bro, even diversity, bro. Keep the bloodline pure. Half Mexican, bro. Half Chinese, bro. What are you talking? Like, I swear to God, it's always like. Anyways, um, the key takeaway from all these stories, the story tool isn't too much specific of the tool themselves, but the fact, okay, what kind of big proponent of these books. Anyways, okay. The key takeaway of the stories to the tool isn't so much specifics of the building the tool is realizing they need to be built and I was also given the time of the research to build them. Okay, whatever. I'm gonna punch the fuck out of you. Buy-in from the management, freedom to experiment and work on non-customer facing code, and trust across various team and all allowed these tools to be developed along with the ease with them, the culture, tooling, and sharing collaboration. These factors are made Etsy so-called DevOps unicorns, where they as they prefer to call themselves just sparkly horse. They are also known today as maintaining the culture of provide prioritized on all level of company. These examples embodies a definition of effective DevOps, an organization that embraces cultural change to affect how individuals think about work and value all different tools and individuals have to accelerate business value and measure the effects of the change. It was also a DevOps that helped to take Epsi from a state of frustration of silos and industry renowned collaboration and two providers. While the details may differ, we have seen the guidance pipeline in success stories throughout the industry and sharing them. We provide a guidance of organization to look from the transformation. Anyways, value of the story. Effective DevOps contains a case study of the stories both teams and individuals when looking at DevOps books already exist. We found that there were few direct real world experience for people drawn from so many stories focused on specific tool or abstract culture principles. It is one thing to talk about how things should work in theory, but it's also a great deal of difference between how things should work in theory and how things turn out in practice. We want to share some actual stories of these practices. What did what did and didn't end up working, and throughout the process and behind the decision that were made, so people have information as much possible. They have undertaken their own DevOps journey. Okay, Catherine's story. Put the burqa on this bitch. Who cares? Burqa. Anyways, what is DevOps? Who knows? Okay, anyways, Catherine's story. My DevOps story begins around the same time as the DevOps movement itself. I made an accidental career change into operations solely after the idea of DevOps was first formalized. The first DevOps Days conference events have been held, and luck would have it, I found myself working in one woman operation team at a small startup in an e-commerce space, and I discovered the love of the operation, even though I was just one person for the team so long. The idea of development DevOps immediately made sense to me. It seemed like no bullshit approach to working with more efficient with other parts of organization outside your own team. It was at that time I was the only grumpy system administrator. I was the grumpy system administrator who spent the days hiding in data centers. I was the only person on call and was so busy fighting the fires and had to inherit had no little idea no what developers or anyone else for that matter were working on. So the idea of sharing responsibility of information, breaking down the barriers between teams really spoke to me. Organization are much more open to change and new ideas than the others. In addition to being rather change resistant in the startups, Keen wasn't listening to any thing a junior system administration had to say. You're not a real system sysadmin. They say it's dismissing my ideas. They weren't even enough to budget to buy me a couple of books. I thought systems of my own, let alone send me to Lisa or Western. Started my own couple of years. Luckily, I started DevOps, find the DevOps community online. I'm able to walk, talk, and learn from people who started a passion of operation. Learning about working together revitalized me. James Turnbull, a new studio Kickstarter starter, who was at that time working at a puppet, found me at a Twitter, struck up a conversation with me, and sent me a copy of Pro Puppet book. At that time, I was struggling with having small interns of 22 small snowflakes service with not even a bash script to manage them. A small action introduced me to growing a thriving community of people and gave me hope that I could one day be a part of a community. As Jennifer would will note in her story, it's very hard to affect change when it's burnt out. After years of not trying to help change and improve my current company and being shut down for lack of experience, which was growing by the day. Every time I made a small choice to move on, I keep learning and growing my skills, but I didn't feel like totally aligned with my places. I ended up working. I seem to be fighting against my own coworkers organization rather than working with them. In January, DevOps Day in New York, soaking up the talks, listening to the Hackaway track that I learned. If I didn't feel like these I was experiencing at any conversation, I was vicariously through following Velocity Compound in the early October of the year. I was I gave a lightning talk at a second DevOps day at New York, and through met Mike Ramsey, one of the co-founders of the conference. He told me that I come for work for Epsi, but but I have years of feeling of imposter in my own field. I thought he was joking. I'd follow the code craft and the Etsy operation team book online. I would discuss the operation and DevOps communities, but I didn't think I was good enough for join them. I've never been more happy to proven so wrongly. My career operation has been taken my stability operation structure, the way the operation, sometimes even DevOps team work together. Having worked at companies as small as 25% startups as large as decade-old enterprises, organization, 100,000 employees, I've seen so many ways of developing and delivering software systems, some more effective than others. Having spent time being the one person on call 24/7 was better part of my year and less an ideal workplace scenarios. I want to share the techniques and methods that worked best me and my teams over the years to help reduce the number of people who also might find themselves in a single point of failure, part of the organization. A lot point of the motivation for writing this book was being the stories. Both ones have personally and communities, so you can share them, grow as a community, help me the book wherever I'm today and I'm learning. Okay, Jennifer's story. In 2007, I was contacted by Yahoo's manager about the position that was little dev or little ops, a senior, it's basically operation management. Back in the days, there was no connective tissue between these two. I was contacted by Yahoo's management about position that was okay. As a service engineer at Yahoo, home machines in programming, operation, and project management, I've worked alongside the development and quality assurance, team building, separate and coordination effort, and data links and networking, security, and storage team in 2019. As the murmuring of DevOps trickled into Yahoo was discounted as a value of solid DevOps. Fast forward to moving into summer 2020, Jeff Park took over the leadership of my team and he helped grow the team so that we have multiple people in the service engineering in the United States as well as in India. It wasn't enough. Jeff had us concerned about me as an employee working non-stop almost every single-handedly keeping the service up. He was concerned about the business and wanted to build the resiliency into the support model through redundant staff support. In December 27, he took me to a real vacation, not my email discount. I was told like I felt like something wasn't quite right, something wasn't working as expected. He told me that he'd fire me if I didn't take time off. He reassured me that everything would be fine. I set up a simple visualization concentration metric with JavaScript and Perl script running at the time in cron job. Evening before my vacation, confident that I would be enough to provide warning. I came back from vacation, degraded the service. So many small issues that I have found implicated overall, making it more difficult to debug. I felt like complete failure, even though my last minute visualization had been critical to identifying the monitoring the issue. Jeff took me aside and said that he knew there was a high risk that something would break while I was resulting from the team historical complete resilience on me. My heroics was discussed as failures and he felt like something was short term, was setback or okay things. If later was the right person over the long term, if things broke, it would help prioritize the critical sharing, documenting, distributing my knowledge, expertise, devices. Ultimately, that would lead for more stable, better outcome overall the organization and individual. The event United States team tried to repair the service and understand what happened. We divided the cross-function team, functional team to address different components. The key individual management or whatever at the time prepared me to make hard decisions. These hard decisions helped us limit the overall length of the outage. Failure sucks, but it instructs. A key takeaway from this event is that value of failure. We couldn't be afraid of to fail. We need to learn from failure. Ongoing meetings to resolve operation issues that have been highlighted in the event. We continue to outage cross-discipline team rather than limiting these activities to service engineering. We promoted the discussion between our customers and provided better understanding the weak points in system. Having spent 10 years building the practice based on operation and tribal cultures for long hours, isolation, and avoiding system failures, how was I going to evoke the change that I needed? I was ready for DevOps. For me, the value of DevOps wasn't the mantra of devs do X and ops do Y, or ops devs versus ops, but the shared stories and problem solving problems in a collaborative manner across industries and strengthening communities from an open space to collaborative hacking. And bro, women were right. These bitches were right. These bitches that want to talk were right. Who would have thought? Anyways, collaborating with Catherine on this book have been strengthened my understanding on how DevOps, understanding of DevOps, and being able to share the working strategies behind the techniques from around the world to help create a sustainable workplace. That has been incredible journey. It doesn't end with the final word of this book. We are all gaining many experience on the books every day based on our differences and diverse perspectives. Whenever you are at the beginning of the career, knee deep in cultural transformation, or to change roles in a responsibility and experience can inform to educate others. I look forward to hearing from amplifying your stories so that you can from a failures and success, illustrating DevOps with stories. Would have thought. We have selected various case studies to help illustrate the different ways in which the cultural effective DevOps can manifest. The goal of the stories is not to provide templates that can be followed exactly blindly or copying each other organization in individual discounted outfit circumstances and reasoning. Okay, we know this. These stories are illustrated or guide. We hope our hope is that when you read these stories and reflect them on your experience, perhaps they are today, maybe they are how can you see in the future. We included stories of variety of sources, both formal case studies and informal personal stories. While some stories have organizations that are more readily deliberate to choose and include the stories from lesson learners to showcase these varied DevOps and narrative that exists. Learning couldn't stop at the shared moment. Experiment on these process and tools and techniques. Measure these progress, and more important, to understand the reason why. Once you start realizing doesn't work with these things, you can try to sophisticated experiments. Cool. DevOps is a cultural movement that is okay, so more like a cultural movement than anything. Cool. If you okay, what is the connection for hiring friendly ML profiles to think of the importance of okay, software engineering, clean production, Python grid code test packaging, API, get code reviews. Okay, I can do the fundamental CDCI, infrastructure as code, cloud. Okay, I can get that. Data pipelines and orchestration, building and training inference pipelines, Airflow, perfect Kubeflow, whatever. ML fundamentals and framework, I need that. Okay, model deployment and serving. Mhm. Model deployment, data engineering basics, not that important. It's not that important either. Soft skill, data science, backend, and infra. Wait, I said one data science, backend, and infra. Let's just write it down. So I need ML, of course. Database system design. What do I need? Python, software engineering, data management, ML system design, devops. Okay, CDCI. Okay, whatever. ML model deployment best. I think that's what practical MLOps was. Anyways, ML engineering system design Python. Okay. Yeah, that's the thing. Right, data pipeline and data engineering. This is data engineering, data pipeline, patterns and reliability in high level of thinking.
Nayak and welcome to my YouTube channel. So guys,
this end-to-end machine learning course will help you with core concepts and advanced MLOps integration. IU Singh will guide you through creating a project to help you learn data analysis, feature engineering, and model implementation with rigorous testing. We'll also teach
hello all, my name is Krish Nayak and welcome to my YouTube channel. So guys, yet another amazing project for all of you. And again, this will be an end-to-end project with deployment. In our previous video, I had uploaded one video regarding ML flow and DAGs hub, right? And we saw that how we can perform all our experiments, model training with respect to ML flow, right? And DAGs hub was a kind of a remote repository which you can also probably see, experiment and collaborate in a data science project with multiple team members. Now, after that, many people were requesting to try to create an end-to-end project wherein we can probably use this ML flow along with data ingestion, data transformation, model training, model deployment, and probably try to do it in some AWS EC2 instance, because in companies, many of the companies use AWS EC2 instance, right? So considering this particular project will be an end-to-end machine learning or data science project where I will be taking a specific data set, and then we will be implementing each and every steps with respect to data ingestion, data validation, data transformation, model training, and model deployment and evaluation. Everything we will be implementing. Along with this, we'll be integrating ML flow also. Now, what will happen if once we start using ML flow in this, with the help of ML flow, we will be able to integrate and do most of the tasks with respect to experimentation, model tracking, everything as such, right? And then, as you know, that ML flow is completely open source, so you can probably integrate with any kind of clouds, right? Let it be AWS EC2 instance or Azure or or anything else, or Google Cloud also. And you can also do this with any kind of libraries, let it be scikit-learn, TensorFlow, PyTorch, right? So what we will do with respect to our experiment, we will try to work in such a way that we'll try to integrate MLflow, and then we will implement all the life cycle, and then probably we'll do the deployment with GitHub Action in the AWS EC2 instance. So please make sure that, guys, while practicing this, I will be giving the code entirely in the description of this particular video. Go ahead and check it out, and as you practice, go ahead and implement it, and if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section, right? Now, before I go ahead, I really want to make a quick announcement. If you probably want to learn data science from me, probably implement this kind of projects in a much more detailed manner, with much more implementation, with much more explanation, then you can probably check out our full stack data science pro batch, which is starting from August 12th. So here you'll be able to see from August 12, 2023. It will be completely live. The classes are between 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. IST. And again, the doubt clearing session will be between 12 to 12 p.m. IST every Saturday and Sunday, right? Here, in this particular program, it will be somewhere around 12 months duration. All the classes will be live. The instructor will be Sudhanshu and Krish, which are the main mentors. Along with this, we also have some more mentors, that is Sudhanshu Paul, and we also have Sunny Savita, right? So all these are the mentors. One amazing thing about this particular course is that we have also included, some amazing thing with respect to OpenAI. So prompt engineering and LLM, we used to not have in our previous batches, but now we have implemented or included everything, right? From prompt engineering to large language model to everything, right? So go ahead and check out. All the information will be given in the description and in the pinned comment. So guys, now let's go ahead and implement this entire project step by step, okay? So you just have to implement along with this, and if you probably face any kind of concerns or issues, please let me know in the comment section. So let's go ahead and implement the project.
So guys, now let's start with our project implementation. So before that, what I will do, I will create one GitHub repositories, okay, of our project, and
If you work with data software from the shadow science stage, anyways.
Today we are going to build end-to-end data engineering project using Databricks. Databricks is gaining a lot of popularity, and we will use this platform to build a
In today's video, I'll be showing you how you are going to be connecting your Airflow.
If I was learning data engineering from scratch in 2025, here's what I would do. First, I would learn SQL. SQL is the English of data engineering. Without it, you can't do anything else. There's a tool called Data Lemur that I would recommend you check out. It's a very powerful way to practice and learn SQL. You just need to learn the basic commands: select, from, where, having, group by, order by, limit. If you can learn those 7 commands, you can do 80% of SQL. There's more that you need to learn there, but that's the basics. Then you need to learn Python. Python is going to be the next big important thing. Python is what takes your SQL code, which does transformation logic, and causes it to run on a regular basis. With Python, just learn the basic syntax like if loops, data types, classes, stuff like that. It's not too hard to learn. And then pick up an orchestration tool, maybe Dagster, Prefect, Mage, Airflow, something like that, to allow you to then schedule pipelines. This is what allows your data to refresh automatically and be deployed in the cloud. One of the things you'll learn after you have these basic pipelines built is you need bigger guns to process bigger data. After you've learned those two, you can then learn the big guns, which are going to be things like Spark, BigQuery, Snowflake, Databricks. Pick one and master that, and then you will be very well on your way to getting an amazing job in 2025. If you want more details,
Anyways, if you want to work in data or software, you might have to notice that data engineering emerges from the shadow. Despite the current popularity of data engineering, there is more confusion about what data engineering means and what data engineers do. Data engineers have existed. Okay, what the fuck? What the fuck am I looking at? DevOps, data engineering, all over the place.
Today we are
DevOps is a cultural movement that changes how individuals think about work and values and diversity, supports internal process that accelerates and rate by decision to measure the effect of the social and technical change. It is a way of thinking and the way of working that enables individual and organization to develop and maintain sustainable work practices. It is a cultural framework for sharing stories and developing empathy, enabling people and to practice their craft in effective ways. Uh,
today we are going
Prescription
to
for culture. Fuck no. A DevOps prescription for culture. No culture movement exists in vacuum. Structures and culturals are inherently intermittent hierarchies within organization and industry connection and globalization influence culture as well as values of norms with artifacts that reflects these areas. Softwares can create do not exist separately from people who use it and people who create it. DevOps is about finding ways to adapt and innovate social structures and cultures and technology together. Buzzword. Who cares? DevOps equation. The danger of a movement that regards itself as newly and is try to embrace everything. It is not old. This book is prescribed one true way of doing DevOps, while others describe commonly seen misconception and anti-pattern. We are interested in prescribing what a successful culture acts like, and principles can be applied to various organizations and environments. While term DevOps itself is paramount for development and operation, the concept of DevOps is applied throughout the organization and sustainable way of making business and more people development option. Limiting our thinking by these terms right around deploy it into production does the entire business model of disservice. DevOps as folk model. In many ways, DevOps has already become a folk model in terms of using different intent for different miscommunication and misunderstanding in the field of cognitive science. A folk model is an abstract model of concrete ideas and often such class are being easier to understand than the concept ultimately being discussed. An example of this being situational awareness, which is often used as a standard for specific ideas like perception and short-term memory. Folks' model are not necessarily bad. They are becoming problematic when the different groups of use of the same term with different intent. People will often more spend arguing what DevOps means, what folk model they're using for it, than focusing on the ideas which is what to discuss. Sometimes, in order to get around these issues and defining DevOps and get people talking about concepts and principles in circulating bad behaviors as a way of focusing us on good behaviors that are seen in being DevOps to talk about effective inter-team collaboration. Someone might have a cartoonish example of company creating DevOps team that serves only to act as go between the developer and operation team. And we did in the preface in the extreme example, but people are talking about something meaningful and more practical in their own definition. Old view and new view.
Today we are going to build end-to-end data engineering project using Databricks. Databricks is gaining a lot of popularity, and we will use this platform to build a
basis. A few years ago, a top guy at Google said, you need 5 data engineers for every machine learning engineer out there. So the amount of opportunities for data engineers now and over the next few decades is going to be staggering. Don't worry about saturation either. Most of these jobs aren't being filled right now. The company I'm working for right now has been looking for a data engineer for 2 months now. There are also roles that are cloud-based that involve still other roles within data engineering. For example, you could be a data engineer and only focus on a cloud data warehouse called Snowflake. Snowflake is a data warehouse that works on the big 3 cloud providers. That's yet another avenue that you could take as a data engineer. A few years ago, a top guy at Google said, you need 5 data engineers for every machine learning engineer out there. So the amount of opportunities for data engineers now and over the next few decades is going to be staggering. Don't worry about saturation either.
Three reasons to not become a data engineer. Number one is that you do not enjoy on call. Believe it or not, as a data engineer, you will have to go on call and more. And for the 2 years that I worked as a data engineer, I had to do more than on call. I had to log in every Sunday to make sure that the data pipelines I support for Monday reporting are ready on Sunday. Number two is that you don't enjoy being in the backend. Like most coding roles, you will be working in the backend as a data engineer. And for some people, this is actually a great perk. But if you are the type of person who wants to be more involved in day-to-day business decisions, then data engineering may not be a good career for you. Number three, you want to make a software engineering salary, or you want a software engineering career. If you are looking for software engineering career or software engineering salary, then go for that role. Don't choose data engineering as your plan B, because you have to be passionate about the space to make it in the data engineering realm. And the salaries.
The data engineering interview usually look like. So
basically they were saying how 10 years ago data scientist was so sexy, and now apparently data engineering is very sexy. It's fun. I actually don't mind doing data engineering. I do it a lot more than I used to. I think that it more often represents the role. When people actually say I'm a data engineer, I have a pretty good idea of what you do. You almost certainly use SQL or something that does SQL in the background, so Apache Beam or Spark. You're moving data around, you're creating pipelines so that it takes it from A to B. You're helping.
So the sole purpose of
Anyways,
Welcome to this data. Welcome to.
what does a data engineering interview usually look like? does a data engineering interview usually look like? So I've been doing these for the last like 7 years or so. I've like given a lot of interviews. I've also been the interview.
Because in chapter 4, we discuss about how to create training data for your model. In chapter 5, we discuss about how to engineering features from a data. It's the data engineering features. With the initial set of features, we'll move on to ML algorithm part and ML systems. For me, this has to be the most fun step. It allows me to play around with different algorithms and techniques, even the latest one. This has to be the first step where you can see how your hard work you put in data feature engineering transform into one of the system output predictions you can use to evaluate the success of my effort to build an ML model. First, you need to like select it to build. Okay, wait, can I make
What is the future of data engineering? This is a question that I get asked often. Data engineering has been a rising career and there is a lot of hype and demand for data engineers. But what is the future? In my opinion, data engineering is on its way out because of AI. As AI become more and more mainstream and companies start adopting AI part of their toolkit that they offer to employees, a lot of the coding work will become automated. This means that software engineers specifically will have more times on their hand, which means first job family that they will come after is data engineers. So why does a company need to hire a software engineer and a data engineer if software engineer who now has more bandwidth in the world of AI can also do data engineering work? I did a video on this recently and the recruiter actually confirmed this. Let me know in comments your thought. Do you think data engineering is here to stay? What is the future of data engineering? This is a question that I get asked often. Data engineering has been a rising career and there is a lot of hype and demand for data engineers. But what is the future? In my opinion,
There are 4 levels of data engineering. Level 1, you know SQL and Python, and you probably know some data modeling and some stuff like that. And you can build a pipeline so long as it's not too complex or too big. Level 2 is you understand the basics of distributed compute. Maybe you know Spark or BigQuery or Snowflake, and you can process data on an upwards of 1 or 2 terabytes. Level 3 is you have now mastered distributed compute. You can process pipelines of arbitrary scale. When I worked at Netflix, I was working on pipelines that were petabytes a day. So you really understand how to leverage distributed compute to its ultimate capacity, as well as you know how to data model, you know how to get all of the data to be as compressed as possible and to be as usable as possible. And level 4 is you actually talk to stakeholders before you write your pipelines. And communication goes a long way.
are great, but they are great.
What is data engineering? The analogy that I like to use is that of a house. So
Software
A few years ago,
Software engineer versus data scientist 2025 edition. Average salary
125,000.
123,000 plus stocks, bonus, free massages depending on your company. Top 3 skills.
Python, machine learning, statistics.
Python, Java, JavaScript. Who should not go into your field? If you're not a problem solver or you suck at coding, your life's going to be miserable.
Someone who sucks at talking to clients, or someone like you.
Will your field get replaced by AI?
No, because you do have to have a level of being able to work with and talk to customers.
No, but data science might be coding. Software engineer versus data scientist 2025 edition. Average salary
125,000.
A lot of people always ask, should I become a data engineer? Is it the right role for me? And I feel like I've had a few conversations now with various heads of data where they discussed how in previous companies, they were all trying to remove data engineering. Somehow they wanted to get rid of data engineers. They were like, well, we just want the data and analysts and data scientists to directly access it. Many of these companies had to rehire and re-implement their data engineering strategies because they must also admit that someone needs to manage and own these pipelines that create data sets that are actually understandable by analysts and data scientists. So a lot of companies want to get rid of data engineering to some degree or another, but it's also a reality that it is very, very hard to do so. So for those of you who wonder if DE is a good job choice, I would say we've got at least another decade of doing this work.
a few years ago, a top guy at Google
Detailed roadmap.
Asked me how to become a data engineer like you. First, you must learn SQL.
stop watching the roadmaps and start doing the work. These are the only 5 courses required to get into data engineering.
The fuck are you, bro?